everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. First of all, let's fix this fucking camera angle. Keep that shit square. Keep it on the level. Now, today I want to talk to you guys about something and why the dirty bulk fails almost every fucking time that somebody does it. Now, back in the day, it was kind of like the thing to do. It was like, there was no dirty bulk, clean bulk. There was fucking bulk, okay? It was basically weight gain diet, bulking diet, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But there was no like clean bulk. Like there was no distinction. Either you were trying to gain weight or you were getting ready for a contest. There was kind of no in between, really. Even like maintenance wasn't even like a real thing. Like people would just kind of take time off when they maintained, and then they would try to gain a little bit of weight for their next show. And after they're done gaining weight, they would diet down. So there was no distinction. And then all of a sudden, the bodybuilding lifestyle started to get more and more popular, and it turned from bodybuilding lifestyle into fitness lifestyle. When it turned into fitness lifestyle, that's when we saw new things, like, and they were new at the time, like intermittent fasting, food combining, dirty bulk, clean bulk, IIFYM. All these things started when the bodybuilding lifestyle started going a little more mainstream. And then it completely switched into what we call the fitness lifestyle, which is still the bodybuilding lifestyle, basically with less drugs and less structure. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Now, me, myself, I was a thin kid, always had a fast metabolism, had a hard time gaining weight. So my thing was just eat, right? And I listened to my mom when I was younger. She'd be like, eat pasta, it'll make you bigger. Like these old wives' tales that your parents tell you. So you follow, what your mom tells you because that's all you know. Then you actually get into a gym and you start listening to people. And they'll say stuff like, back then it was like milk, whole eggs, peanut butter. I mean, it was still fairly quote unquote natural foods, not, Oreos and Pop-Tarts and the shit that they have now. Now, you've heard me talk about hormonal response to food and how to manipulate your hormones through food. Many people ask me to explain this a lot more, but it's not that easy. It's so complicated because there are so many different aspects as to how your body reacts that everybody just wants to dumb it down. I think the average person is not really going to even understand it because they don't even understand the fact of how powerful those hormones are in your body, even if you're not injecting them, right? Some people get it, some people don't, but we're going to try to go through that dirty bulk so I can kind of explain why the advice that four-time Mr. Olympia Jay Cutler gave me, which, looking back, I had people like him, I had people like Mike Matarazzo, there were people fucking all around me, Todd Brulette, Anthony DeRezzo, Steve Reeves, all these people around me that were trying to help me by telling me to stay lean and not quote-unquote bulk up, because I would gain muscle faster staying lean, right? And I would be like, yeah, okay, and I'd go right to McDonald's. Like, I didn't listen to them, right? So I would bulk up, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm like 250, I'll be competing at like 220 this year, I'll drop 30 pounds. I get down to 220, I'm still 50 pounds overweight. I keep cutting. As I'm trying to cut down from that heavy weight that I put on all that fat and water and bullshit with it, you're trying to diet that fat and stuff off, but your body's been in such a long storage mode, it doesn't really want to do it. So now you're pushing, and you're doing more cardio, and you're fucking manipulating your carbs, you're doing all this stuff, and what you wind up is like basically a pound heavier than you were the year before in slightly better condition. So basically the bulk itself, the dirty bulk, did not work. So what did I do? Start eating shit again, bulk back up again. Oh, it didn't work this time, it'll work this year. And I did that over and over and over again. Now, what I didn't understand was how the body used those hormones and the food to create new muscle tissue, keep fat stores low, gain fat, create new strength in the gym and the hypertrophy range, what sarcoplasmic hypertrophy was. There were so many things. There was basically the load up in as many calories as you can. And I just got an email from, I think it was James or Tony, I don't know which one it was, and we were talking about the dirty bulk, about how someone told him to slam a weight gainer, 1,000 calorie weight gainer after his fucking workout. And basically, I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's kind of back up. Now, your body does increase muscle mass, I wouldn't say at a faster rate, but at a better clip rate, because you're not going to have to diet all that fat off in the end. So if you stay leaner, when you're dieting that little bit of fat off, you don't lose the muscle that you're going to lose if you bulked up and then cut down. So you basically wind up heavier in the end if you stay lean. Now that being said, what is the difference hormonally that happens to your body with those calories and macros? Because it absolutely is different than I think a lot of people think. I think they just think about getting the food in, and that's like they dumb everything down. Just get the food in, 1 meal, 10 meals, doesn't fucking matter, right? So let's say you have post-workout, you're going to do a meal, right? And you take your normal, I think a lot of people try to quote-unquote spike their insulin, right? And spiking your insulin is probably the worst thing that you can do. And I think what they don't realize is the spike that they want in insulin is actually not to increase everything getting shoved into the muscle on your bulk. What they want to do is increase that insulin, I don't want to say secretion, but secretion slightly enough so that it just takes the food that you're working with, loads it in the muscle very easily, but stops muscle protein breakdown. Like, that's the whole thing about insulin. Like, a lot of people call it the anabolic hormone, which is true that it shoves all the food directly, or the nutrients directly into the muscle, and it's responsible for shuttling them. But here's the thing. Having that insulin secretion actually stops muscle protein breakdown, which is catabolism. So you're looking for like a 1-2 effect with the hormones. You want it to shuttle, but you want muscle protein breakdown to occur as fast as to stop as fast as possible. So now here we have a meal. Let's say you had 100 grams of sugar. Okay, so you took 100 grams of sugar, you put it in the 100 grams of carbs from sugar. You put it in water and you slug that down. Your body's gonna get a response when it starts dropping all that fucking glucose in your blood. Your fucking insulin levels are gonna skyrocket, okay? And what's gonna happen is it's gonna literally push up. It's gonna keep going and going and going up until it's using all that glucose, because it basically says, oh shit, we gotta clear this out. We can't have this all in here. We can't be hyperglycemic, right? We gotta clear this out. And what it does is drops your blood sugar so fucking fast that you literally will have a blood sugar crash, or you start to have, it's kind of like I don't want to say like a diabetic, it's like an opposite of diabetic reaction, which feels like a blood sugar crash, but you literally will pass out, like if it drops too fast. So now you not only have like the symptoms, or you may actually just fucking pass out, but you still had 400 calories used up within that short amount of time. And I would say maybe 30 minutes to an hour, that insulin is through the fucking roof on the average person, dropping those carbohydrates or the glucose out, right? What if you took 100 grams of carbohydrates from rice or oatmeal after the workout? Now what happens is, as your body's digesting those carbohydrates, which is a slower pace, and it's dropping into your bloodstream, it's literally starting to secrete insulin at a slow increase. It's not this huge spike like the sugars. So as you're getting that slow increase, it's utilizing those carbohydrates, the glucose, very efficiently, putting it where it needs to go because it needs to recover. So it's trying to put it in the muscle, it's trying to put it in the liver. When you're feeding your body all that sugar and it spikes like that, it's going to get it wherever it can go, and when it's cleared out, like if your glucose glycogen stores are full, right? It's not going to leave it in your blood and slowly decrease your insulin and let your body use those for energy, that glucose. What it does is start shoving, because the insulin is high, starts shoving it into the fat stores. So you're gaining more fat by using the sugars rather than using the complex carbohydrates. As the insulin secretion goes up and you're using those complex carbohydrates, it's literally restoring your liver glycogen, your muscle glycogen. It's helping your body recover and repair. And as your body starts to use up those carbohydrates and it's getting full, your insulin doesn't keep secreting up, right? It starts to decrease when your body starts to not need it. But while it's still there, it's using it for energy. It's allowing your body to use the carbohydrates for energy. So you have a much less chance of getting fat if you're eating the cleaner foods, even though the calories were the same, the macronutrients were the same, but the types of food, how it drops into your blood, how your body uses it, it's different. Every food works differently for different people. And rice, sweet potatoes, cream of rice, oatmeal, all complex carbs, but will react differently in different people. Like, this is something you guys, I can't hammer home hard enough. I've been talking about this for years on YouTube, and finding those foods that work for you, when you find them, it's like a combination lock. When you have found those foods that work for you, you don't need to look any further. You are done. You can control your body like that anytime you want, knowing how to manipulate your macros, what foods work for you, what cause inflammation, what cause blood sugar. You will learn this stuff over time, but no coach can tell you that. No guru can give you that information. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. This stuff is so much more complicated than the IIFOM crowd wants you to believe, which is why it takes them so long to gain muscle, so long to get lean, so long to do everything, because it's not efficient. They don't care about what's efficient. They care about getting Pop-Tarts and ice cream in their diet, which again is causing a hormonal response and reaction. So let's just say, we'll make another example that can maybe really hammer this home. Let's say you ate all of your carbohydrates from sugar for the whole day, 300 grams of carbohydrates from sugar all day. You eat these carbohydrates, you have the huge spikes in insulin, it clears your blood out, it fucking completely drops your blood sugar. What do you think is going to happen when all this is happening throughout the day, as opposed to if you're eating that complex carbohydrates where it has a steady trickle? Again, go back to the IV use inside medicine. When you need IV antibiotics, when you need IV anything, they put the IV drip. Sometimes they do an IV push when they need it in there right away, but an IV drip so your body can absorb it and utilize it at a more it's a natural pace. I don't want to say natural because it is natural for the body. Like, I'm confusing words because I look at it as the body's very natural state, the way it clears out glucose. When you shove all that sugar in it, it spikes your insulin. That's not a natural state. It's an emergency state. Okay, and your body will go into, I don't want to say shock, but these are words that I'm using because I want you guys to really understand that your body can go into shock. You ever heard sugar shock? You can go into sugar shock not being diabetic. Like, it blows my mind that people don't understand that 300 grams of carbohydrates from sugar is going to have a completely different reaction in your body throughout the day than 300 grams of carbohydrates from complex carbs. You'll have steady, legit energy source throughout the day with the complex carbohydrates using that trickle effect, rather than literally spiking your insulin up, and every single time you're spiking that insulin up too high with the sugars, whatever's not getting pushed in the muscle, because let's say your muscle's already full for the day, right? Let's say by the last 200 grams of carbs, your muscles and liver are already full. You're not that active. Where do you think that other 200 grams of glycogen is going to go, or the carbohydrates are going to go? It's going to go in fat. So we get fatter and fatter and fatter on the dirty bulk nonstop, because it's not just the amount of calories you're taking in, because if you're taking the same amount of calories on a dirty bulk and a clean bulk, by the same amount of time when you're done, you'll be leaner on the clean bulk than the dirty bulk at the same calories, because your body responds to food differently hormone-wise than other different foods. And I can't hammer that home enough, and it is not an easy thing. It takes a long time to figure out. And even then, this is 27 years that I've been doing this. Different foods that I throw in there now react differently to my body now than when I was younger. Like, your body changes. I don't think people get that fact either. I have a lot of people come to me and go, well, Jerry, I want to be like 168 pounds again. I'm like, okay, where'd you get that number from? Well, that's what I was in college. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, how old are you now? 53. Okay, well, it was a little while ago. But, well, and then they go, this is what I was doing in college. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you were doing in college. That's not you anymore. Like, it's literally not you anymore. Like, your body, your metabolism, everything, your body's hormone, everything is different. You're older. It reacts differently. So even as you get older, you now have to figure out what works as you get older. It's a never-ending thing. It's constantly fucking changing all the time. And I think the biggest take-home is the only absolute that there is in this whole thing, macro-wise, training-wise, all this is that there is no absolute. There is no one way. It changes and varies throughout time. But the one thing that I've seen over and over and over and over again that never changes for anyone is dirty bulks are going to make you fatter in the long run, and you will gain less muscle. And extreme hardcore crash diets are going to make you lose more muscle than if you dieted for a longer period of time. Those are the two absolutes that are only things out there that never change. So hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit. And a lot of you guys wonder about hormonal manipulation through food. I've said it over and over and over again. I think that there are more and more people talking about it now, and more actual scientists are coming out, and people that are involved in the scientific community, the dietetic community, the dietitians, etc., nutritionists, coming out talking about how different foods affect your body. But even endocrinologists are starting to come out now and talk about, well, yeah, if you eat this food, it does this. Like, type 2 diabetes is genetic, but it can also come on by the types of food you're eating, like stressing your pancreas out, stressing your receptors out. Like, there's so many things that your body does hormonally because of food, that for someone to say it doesn't make any difference, it's not that big of a deal, would be a fucking lie. BioStraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is the blog. It's hormonal manipulation through food bicep. Still looking good, and we are out.